What's up guys, thought I'd make a video sharing my thoughts on what happened yesterday during the WWE Draft. Not the fight between Simon Gotch and Sin Cara, but the actual draft and the superstars getting sent to SmackDown or Raw. Now, I was going to make a prediction prior to the draft, giving my thoughts on who was going to go where, but I decided against it, but most of it came true anyways. Dean Ambrose went to SmackDown along with Randy, and AJ Styles also went to SmackDown. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins stayed on Raw. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Y2J stayed on the same show. Reason why I thought they would all stay on the same show when it comes to Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Jericho is first off, Jericho and Sami Zayn, they've been in a lot of backstage segments, and in case they were going to break up a couple teams, I thought they need to make some new teams. And Kevin Owens and Jericho, to me, seems like a perfect fit. They'd be an awesome tag team. One of the tag teams I enjoyed the most with Jericho was Jerry's Show. And I think Y2J and KO can be a great tag team. They could beat Jerry's Show if they, make them a tag team. And they've been in a lot of backstage segments. I know I'm not the only one that loved to see them as a tag team. I think it'd be a pretty funny tag team, and also a pretty dominant tag team, just like Jericho and the Big Show was. Nobody really expected Jericho and the Big Show to be great, but they were great. As far as Kevin Owens and Jericho, I think anybody that likes both these guys would expect this to be great, and I think it would be great. As far as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn staying on the same show, their whole story is kind of like they keep on following each other, they keep on fighting forever, so it just made sense that they both stay on the same show. Just felt like something they would do, and they did that. But anyways, enough about my predictions and how I got them right. This isn't about this, it's about what I thought about the draft. And first things first, between Raw and SmackDown, who got the better roster? Who got the better deal? Or who picked the better superstars? I think Raw did. Apart maybe from the main event side, because Raw has Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar as the current main event superstars. And SmackDown has the current WWE Champion, Dean Ambrose, John Cena, Randy, and also AJ Styles. So SmackDown has 4 current main event superstars that have all recently challenged for the championship or are always in, the title picture and can get there at any moment, like quickly, compared to Raw, who only have 3. Now, of course, guys like Kane, Big Show, yeah, they've been former world champions, but when's the last time they've been in a title program? And let's face it, people aren't really as, excited to see Kane and the Big Show challenge for the championship as they are, guys like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and all the guys that I just named. And I feel Raw got a much more entertaining package overall than SmackDown did. And part of that might be because Raw got to pick more superstars than SmackDown did. One thing that, I kind of thought was weird, I didn't expect, was a lot of the, wrestling superstars, or superstars that are known for their in-the-ring abilities, people thought they'd go to SmackDown because SmackDown was touted to be, the wrestling show and all about the wrestlers. And kind of like Cesaro pointed out in his interview, he also thought he'd go to SmackDown. He wanted to go to SmackDown because of that. And so, I thought it was weird that Cesaro and also Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, they all stayed on Raw. And they didn't go to SmackDown. Not one of them went to SmackDown. I would have loved to see KO or Cesaro going to SmackDown because I feel they would have gotten an opportunity there at possibly a main event title shot. Be be higher on the card. And one thing though I will say is with them staying on Raw and Raw not having as many current main event stars as SmackDown, 3 to 4, maybe they'll get that opportunity now. Because, of course, they can't, have the title scene just, be comprised of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar. That's just not possible. They've got to bring up more superstars and have different superstars challenge for the championship. So while in the beginning maybe it might be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the title in a couple rematches, and then maybe Seth Rollins versus Brock or Roman Reigns versus Brock, eventually they'll have to build up the other guys and bring them up to the main event scene. So KO staying on Raw, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Actually, I feel like KO is one of the guys that they're heavily behind just from the way he's booked. He doesn't lose too often. And one of the reasons why they might have kept him on Raw is because when he starts, or when he finally becomes that current or permanent main event guy, maybe they want him to main event the flagship show rather than SmackDown. It's just that I think a lot of us expected Kevin Owens to go to SmackDown because SmackDown is always touted as, whenever there was a brand extension, as the wrestling show. And they even brought it up, or Daniel Bryan brought it up, that it was going to be all about the wrestlers and all of that. So I think because of that, a lot of us expected Kevin Owens to go to SmackDown, and we're hyped up for it. But, you know, he ended up staying on Raw. Moving on to Cesaro. If you guys saw the interview, well, if you didn't see the interview that he gave, his reaction to getting drafted, you can go ahead and check it out on the WWE's page. They even posted it up. He pretty much went into shoot mode and expressed his feelings, and he was like, yo, I wanted to be on SmackDown, because SmackDown was going to be the wrestling show and all about the wrestlers, and he ended up staying on Raw. And when JoJo was trying to ask him about how do you think Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley are going to coexist, he was pretty much like, I don't care, you know, it's supposed to be about the wrestlers and all that. Man, you can tell Cesaro's pissed, you know, he was disappointed that he was staying on Raw or going to Raw. As far as opportunities for Cesaro, man, I hope he doesn't, you know, fall down the card. I hope that he actually gets an opportunity here. Like I said, they can't just keep it going between Brock, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. And even if they add KO in there, they still need more. They still need more guys to, you know, get some championship opportunities, some fresh pay-per-view matches for the championship. So Cesaro might be another guy that they go ahead and move up to the main event scene, but also looking at the Raw roster and how they're booked and all of that, Rusev might be that other guy. Rusev might move up from the higher mid-card or the mid-card finally to the main event scene, because Rusev has still not gotten a championship match. But whether Rusev was going to be on SmackDown or on Raw, I think them starting to make Rusev dominant again was because they saw this brand extension coming, or they knew they were going to make the brand extension, so they needed to build up some stars. So I think that might have been a reason why they started to make Rusev dominant again, because they were like, alright, we might need Rusev to actually look like a threat, so let's go ahead and have him win some matches again. I was going to say go undefeated, but he did get beat by Dolph Ziggler, but, you know, you get the point. But when it comes to a guy like Cesaro, I think a big reason why people think SmackDown would have been a better fit for him, and myself included, is because SmackDown was always a show where they took chances, or they tested things out. Like, for instance, on SmackDown, you saw Christian become world champion for the first time. You saw Mark Henry become world champion for the first time. You saw even Jack Swagger become world heavyweight champion. Do you think they'd be WWE champion on Raw during that same time? Highly unlikely. Raw during that time had John Cena as a champion, or I don't know who was the champion at that time, maybe Randy or something like that. But during the time Christian was world champion, I think John Cena was the WWE champion on Raw. But bottom line, a lot of those guys that became world heavyweight champion on SmackDown probably wouldn't have become WWE champion during that same time on Raw. SmackDown was really the show where they gave opportunity to guys and kind of saw how they did, and, you know, like I said, they took chances there. So I feel Cesaro, they might have tested it out, might have been like, hey, let's go ahead and give Cesaro a title shot, you know, maybe make him world champion. Have him win the Money in the Bank, the SmackDown Money in the Bank, because, you know, they might bring that back. They might start doing a SmackDown and Raw Money in the Bank ladder match once again. But anyways, he's on Raw, we can't do anything about it, and who knows, they might have plans with Cesaro. They might want to move Cesaro up to the main event, and they might want to use this opportunity on Raw to go ahead and establish him as a main event superstar, along with Brock Lesnar, Seth, and Roman Reigns. So, also, another reason why I think Raw has a better roster, or will have an even better roster, is because they're going to get the Cruiserweight division, which adds a bunch of other superstars to Raw, and probably adds a Cruiserweight championship to Raw as well. So that should be exciting. What's crazy though is it feels like the roles are reversed. It feels like with the superstars that Raw has, and also with them getting the Cruiserweight division, feels like, and also the US title is on Raw, feels like Raw is the old SmackDown, and SmackDown is the old Raw. Because SmackDown also has John Cena, and for the longest, when they had the brand extension during the, I'd say from 2005 to, what was it, 2010 or before that, there was always talk like, hey, John Cena's gonna stay on Raw. John Cena's a Raw guy because of the ratings. They won't move won't move John Cena to SmackDown. He's their face. He's gonna stay on the flagship show. And now they went ahead and sent him to SmackDown. Maybe because they still plan on replacing him with Roman Reigns. But moving on to the NXT call-ups, I think everybody expected Finn to get called up, whether it was SmackDown or Raw. A lot of people were mentioning Nakamura, but I didn't see that coming anyways, because he just got started in NXT. He's getting his championship match for the NXT title against Samoa Joe. I will say though, I did think that there was a possibility of Joe getting drafted. Obviously he didn't. American Alpha getting drafted, I think that was really cool, and I think a lot of us expected that too. But I think when it comes to the tag team division and also the women's division, it doesn't really matter which brand you go to, because there's only one set of tag team titles, and I don't think they're going to go ahead and introduce another women's championship or Divas championship. So that's pretty much it. Let me know who you think has a better roster, Raw or SmackDown, and why. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can click the like button, and I'm out. See ya.